Hi, my name is Ed Diaz, and I'm about to show you how to get the TR-808 kick drum out of the Roland Fantom X. And I'll be using an X8, but you can do this on the X6, X7, or X8. It does not matter. Real quick history, the TR-808 was a very famous drum machine that was used back in, I believe, the early 80s, and it pretty much gave that sound of the hip-hop, the big boom, boom sound. Okay. Unfortunately, it didn't sell very well back in its day, and so it went right to pawn shops and stuff like that. Well, it wasn't until some young musicians got a hold of it that they just tweaked it a tiny bit, and now we have that boom boom that we really love to this day. So without further wasting time, let me show you how to get that 808 boom boom kick out of the Fantom X series. Alright, cool. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is just turn the Fantom on, and I'm just using a stock Fantom, no extra RAM or anything, and we're going to be in the patch section of the keyboard. So the patch section is right here, so that should be lit right there. Patch, rhythm, and that's basically where all of our regular sounds live, none of our performance settings yet. Alright, so cool. First thing we need to do, patch setting, we're going to go ahead and press F1 patch list right here, and that's going to get us right into our category search, or our patch list right there. Now we're going to go ahead and press F6 rhythm. F6 rhythm, and this will get us right to all of our drum kits. Now back in the day, the TR-808, it's in here. It's actually in presets. So just cursor down, use F2, press that button right there. F2, and now we'll go ahead and scroll down to preset number 8. It's going to say the 909 808 kit. Okay. Once we have that kit, let's go ahead and press the select, F8. Okay. Once we press that, the cool thing is that the actual tone we want to get is in the middle B key. Okay. So if we go along the screen, right in the middle of the keyboard, if you hit the B key, right in here, you actually get that tone that you want. Here, let me pull it back so you guys can see. So we got C and B. You know, you maybe use a C if you want, but I prefer to use the B because it's real easy to remember. So just remember preset number 8 in the rhythm kit for the 909 808 kits, and come in the middle of the keyboard, and it's the B key. So I say B because we're doing the bass drum. All right, great. So the next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and use our real-time controllers. Okay, with the real-time controllers, this is how we're going to do our editing of our sound. So I'll be playing that same key, the B key, but I want to make sure the filter envelope light is lit. I hope you guys can see it. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. The filter envelope light is hit, and we're only going to use, of the 4 real-time controller knobs at this time, we're going to use the last 2. The one that says attack and the other one that says release. That's the only thing we're going to use right now. Now if you're hearing this through your computer speakers, it's probably not going to get the tone you want, but you try this on your keyboard going through a good sound system and you're just going to freak out. Okay, so the first thing, there's my natural tone. So we're going to take my attack, and you see the little point on it, little black mark. And we're going to put it between the 12 o'clock and the 1 o'clock position. So there's a natural. So I took a little bit of that attack off, so it's not hitting as hard. Sounds pretty good right away. Now we're going to do the same thing with the release. Put it somewhere between the 12 o'clock and the 1 o'clock position, you know, to just flavor it to taste. Cool, and there it is. We pretty much have it set. And I'm just pressing the B key. And once I have my sound, I'm ready for the next step. Okay, so the next step is, here's our tone now in the B key. Our next step is to get one clean one, because we're going to go ahead and use that blue button that's right here on the left of the pads, and that's called skip back sampling. Okay, so what that's going to do is going to take a sample of the keyboard. So let's go ahead and give it one good one. Now, I must say you have to let the keyboard rest, because skip back sampling is always sampling what's going on anywhere from between 10 to 40 seconds, whatever you tell it to. So I just have it at the factory. So let's do one good one. Ready? One clean one. Hit it. Solid. Good. Now we hit skip back sampling, and now it's processing. So hit it solid. And we're going to let the skip back sampling go because we want the full tail. So now let's go ahead and dig a little bit deeper into here. So after we see it, it's going to get a menu on here, which is going to be called skip back preview. Okay, we really don't care about this right here. We're going to go ahead and go right to sample edit right here, and we'll be able to see. Alright, once we're in the sample edit mode, if you look closely, there should be nothing, and you see that little blip. That is our 808 bass drum that we use the skip back sampling to get. So it's too small for us to really use at this time because we want all our samples to be the same volume. So let's go ahead and press F6 sample modify. Now we get a lot of different choices here, but the one we're going to use is going to be called normalize, F3. So go ahead and press F3, and we want to overwrite, so go ahead and press F6 to highlight it, to make it red, and then F8 to execute, and then execute again. Okay, so what that overwrite means, if we didn't overwrite, we'd have a file of the original file and also a copy of the edited file. And as you guys know that work with RAM, the more of those that we have, the less RAM we can use, and then, you know, it really does us no good. So there you can see it now. Real nice normalized file, something we can actually use. So I can just hold it down and wait for it to get to it. But you know what? Let's go ahead. Here it comes right here. But I want to go ahead and move this part over to here. So one way I can do that is by using the wheel, but that takes too long. And you see this is a close-up representation of here. So let's go ahead and press F5, the beat, and we can move faster. See how it's adjusting? Boom, right in there. Alright, cool. So hope you guys can see this. Now I'll use the wheel to go ahead and fine-tune and get right in there. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and use my cursor, which is just to the right of the dial wheel. I'm going to press that a couple times so I can actually zoom in. Great. And now I'm going to use the dial wheel once again and scroll up to it. One thing I want you to notice though is this is a red line right here, this horizontal line. Watch when it hits the sample. It actually moves up and down so we can see exactly where we are within the sample. So take it back out. Okay, I want you guys to go ahead and use the dial wheel and get right up on the sample. As soon as you see that red line move, see it move as soon as it touches the sample, go back one click on the dial wheel. So go to the left on the dial wheel, one click, so where it's actually clean. So now when I press preview, it's dead on. Right on there. Cool. So we just edited the start point. We're not going to end the end point. We're not going to go ahead and edit that because that's the tail. We want that tail. So let's go ahead and press F6, sample modify, and we're going to press F1 or 1, truncate, and that's going to trim the fat on the sample. Once again, press override so we don't have another copy of the same file that's been edited, and press F8, execute, and it's asking you, are you sure? And the answer is yes. Execute again. So cool. Now when this is done, we have a nice clean sample of that 808 sound. But wait, there's more. Let's go ahead and figure out how to save it, and then we're going to put it to the actual keys. Okay, cool. So we have our sampled file, have that set. Now let's go ahead and save the sample. So let's go ahead and press just to the right of the screen, the right button right here. You notice right away, ask us a couple questions, you know, and sample is already highlighted. Okay, so let's go ahead and press F3 for sample, and right here is where we can name it. So I'm using my dial wheel. I can use my dynamic pad bank to go through different ones. So I'm going to call this one, I'm going to use my pad bank, and you'll notice that if you get used to it. And I'm going to adjust it. I'm going to call this one, use delete. I'm going to call it 808 kick. So obvious for us. And I'm using my dynamic pad back so I can actually get in there and do some stuff pretty quick, take the caps lock off. Yeah, because the pad bank does a whole bunch of stuff that we don't even realize that it can do. So I'm just naming this 808 kick because I want to have that sound and I want to have it so I can use it anytime. Once I have it named, I'll go to write, F8, and I can actually save it to my user bank or my card, but I don't have one in there. I suggest you guys save it to the user and the card, but because sometimes stuff happens, people use your keyboard and they'll erase it and then you'll just really get upset. So let's go ahead and save it to user bank for now, but I would normally save it to a card as well just for safekeeping. Great, so there it is right there. That's it. Now that we have it here, we can go ahead and press F7, and it's going to give us a bunch of options. You'll see we want to load it to keyboard, to pad, multi-sample rhythm, whatever. So we're going to load it to keyboard, F1. Okay, and it's going to ask us, do we want a tempo sync? And this is not a tempo-based sample, so I'm going to say no on here. If it was tempo-based, we would use the BPM calculator that's within the Phantoms, but it's not, so we're just going to go right to execute. So do not tempo sync it, because that's not that type of sample. Execute, and yes, assign it to the keyboard. Now look what we have. So this is what we have, and like I said, if you're going through computer speakers, you might not be able to hear this frequency, but put it through some regular speakers, and you'll hear this. So that's something we can actually use right in there. So it's pretty amazing. So if anybody wants to use that 808 kick sound and it owns a Phantom, you already have it. You don't need to go buy a lot of other things or sample libraries or other products from other manufacturers. You got it already set. So let's go ahead and I'm going to show you another trick. Check this out. So we have that right there, but do I have to do that every time? And the answer is no. So like I said, you don't have to do that every time. Once it's in the keys, you assign it to the keys. Let's go ahead and save it as a patch. So let's go ahead. And I know this patch rhythm is highlighted, but let's go ahead and hit it again and watch what happens to my screen. Boom, goes right to the main page, but if you notice, there's a little asterisk right here by the user, and it already named it. It chose the default name of the sample, so it's already there for you. So that's less you have to do. So all that's saying there is, hey, something's changed in the users. There's a new sound, there's something new edit. What do you want to do? It's just letting you know something's different. Well, I want to use this in my tracks, so let's go ahead and press write. Now we're not writing a sample, we're actually writing a patch rhythm set. You're going to have it as a patch so we can use it in our sequences. So let's go ahead and press patch, and it's already named because we named the 808 kick from the sample. Unless you want to rename it again, I'll just go ahead and press write. And here's where we can choose where you want to put it. So if you're unsure about what you're going to erase, press compare, and then it's going to put it at the forefront. So you can play it and see. If you don't want that, if you're like, you know what, I'm going to get rid of that. That's cool. So, I'll get rid of this one. Take off compare and write it right to that user. Okay, don't be afraid to do this because you cannot erase your presets. You can put all your different users. It's a really good time. So now that quickly we have the 808 kick drum that we can call up anytime and use within our sequences. Well, awesome. Now you know how to go ahead and assign your own TR808 kick drum using the Fantom X without anything extra. If you own a Fantom X 6, 7, or 8, you have the ability to do this. Very easy, very fun. Check with me again in a couple of weeks. I'll put some more videos on there and show you how to really get all the meat out of your Roland Fantom. Alright, take care. Thank you.